I should. I'm on good, I'm on good. Never knew I could. I'm on good, I'm on good. Feeling like I should. I'm on good, I'm on good. Never knew I could. I'm on good, I'm on good. I feel like
What is going on? This is Altone, and today we're going to revisit the CA51W1, which is my flying wing that's back there on the corner. I basically said I retired that airframe. I may actually take it back out for another spin, but for the most part, I'm saying I retired it because my intent is to rebuild that aircraft. I've really been thinking about making some changes to the build and making sure that as I build it, I do a better job. Basically, what I want to look at today with you is going into Ecalc and looking at some of the breakdown, because that is something I said that I really wanted to do. So we're going to jump over to the computer and I'm going to show you my screen. We're going to look into Ecalc and we're going to take a look at some of the dimensions, some of the things that I've come up with that I think based on what Ecalc is showing me and what I'm trying to get out of the plane, what it is that I think I want to do in the future build to make it just a little bit better. Hopefully this won't be a very long video for you, but at the same time, I hope that even if it is, that you're learning something from it and you get an idea of even how to use Ecalc in the future. So with that, let's jump over to the computer and check out Ecalc, and let me show you what I've come up with for the my flying wing CA51W, which will hopefully in the future be a W2. All right, here we are in Ecalc. I'm actually logged in currently. This is what I'm using to verify what I'm doing with the wing. I've already gone through and done the verification that I wanted to do. And so what I'm going to do today, and I was just going to show you some screenshots, but I thought it would be better to actually go through and show you what I'm doing. And we're going to go to the setup finder and click on that, and here we are into the setup finder for airplane. So I'm just going to put all the values that I believe are important and just kind of explain a couple of little things, and hopefully that'll help you out. And again, I am not an expert when it comes to Ecalc, but it's actually working out for me pretty well. A lot of the values I've been able to verify myself. Other parts of those values I've actually had to go in and check those values against what Aerostuff FPV has on the YouTube video where he builds out his wing, and then I am plugging in some of his information. I'm going to share a couple other pieces with you here in a second. My wingspan is 53 inches, as you know. Now, one of the things that I love about Ecalc is that if you know the metric measurements, then you can plug them in. If you know the imperial measurements and whatnot, then you can plug those in. So right now I have my all up weight set at 1,000. My plane is actually more than 1,000 grams, but in a little while you'll see the reason why I chose 1,000, which means I'm going to have to, in the new build, lighten it up a little bit. The wingspan itself is 53 inches, so I plugged in 53. It gave me the millimeter equivalent here. And then we have our wing area. My flight mission, I am not trying to do anything crazy. I actually am always currently setting this to trainer. At this point, I'm not trying to do any real acrobatics with this plane. I just want it to fly. I want to be able to fly a pattern pretty easily. So my miles per hour that I'm trying to reach is 50 miles an hour. Again, not trying to do anything spectacular there. I'm changing my thrust to 1 gram, and there's a reason for that. Here it is. Set thrust to 1 gram if thrust is a secondary requirement. The other thing that I'm doing here is my overall flight time. Now, my flight time, currently they have it set at 6 minutes. I'm actually trying to get at least 5 minutes of flight time out, but I put it at 10 minutes, twice it is what I'm actually trying to get. And I do that on purpose because I know that with the given battery that I'm going to be running, if I'm set for 10, I get 5, then that's an overestimation. I do that a lot, probably too much, actually. So we're using lipos in a 4S configuration. Everything else in here I'm leaving the same because general Air temperature, 77 degrees, kind of where I'm going for. I think that's a good place to be. It's probably going to be a little bit warmer on most days when I'm flying. And my field elevation and all that kind of stuff, I'm just leaving it where it is. Number of motors, we have a single motor, gear ratio 1:1. I'm just leaving all of this the same. Now, my prop diameter, I am changing though. My prop diameter is changing to 9" because that's what I'm using. And I'm letting this actually choose the pitch on its own, and we're going to try to see if we can adjust that in a minute. But essentially the pitch that we're looking for is a 9" 4.5. When we do find setup, it's going to give us all of the different combinations you could possibly go with. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search by the specific prop that I'm looking for, and we're going to find a setup that's very close to what it is that I am currently looking for, which is a 945 using a Flash Hobby Turbo 2826 at 1100 kV motor, which is pretty much exactly what I have. And we go down to 945, let's see, and it's a ways down here because it's a lot of different setups. So, and you can look because they do have some popular model motors and whatnot, and I just passed the 945. So here it is, 945, and I actually got right to it. Boom. Oops, and I didn't mean to click that, but that's okay. Let's go back over here. 945, this is exactly what I was looking for. 22 milliamp hour. I'm actually going to be shooting for a 3300 milliamp hour 4S lipos is what I'm actually using. And it gives you a bunch of information as well as your speed around 47 miles per hour. Once I get this built and it's flying well, we're going to check that. Thrust in grams is just over the weight of the aircraft, which is, I think, is pretty good. And the drive weight, I'm not sure what to think about drive weight at this point. I'm gonna have to figure out what that actually means. So that's pretty cool. Once you click on that, it opens up that next screen, and that next screen now gives you your prop calculator. So when we go to our prop calculator, the weight's already in there, number of motors, where wingspan is already there. All of this stuff is already there. I'm looking for changes or anything we have to update. So 20, what do I have, 2500 milliamp hour? Did I change that? Yep, and I sure did. So I updated that to a 33, which is what I'll actually be flying on. For S33, 85%, and did not change anything here. And then my controller type, I changed that to a 40 amp max because I'm running on a 40 amp ESC. Yeah, battery extension wire, usually those are correct. And then Flash Hobby, Turbo, there it is. Good cooling. And then APC Electric 945, two-bladed prop. All of this is the same. So if we hit calculate, what we end up getting here is essentially we kind of want everything in the green. So I got my load in the green. My mixed flight time is showing me mixed flight time about 15 minutes for what I have set up here, which is above what it is I wanted, which is great. And when I get out to fly, I'll be able to determine how close I am to that 10 minutes. Can I fly further more than 10 minutes? But of course I got to get the balance correct and all that kind of stuff. Electric power, that seems to be high. Not exactly sure what that means for me. If you're watching this and you know what this is going to do for the performance of that wing that I'm building, then make sure you drop that in the comments. If you happen to have some information or have some knowledge and really understand some of these readings and whatnot, or you see something that you think I need to consider or change in the way that I'm doing this, then make sure you drop me a comment and let me know. I think that it will be extremely helpful. Temperature is in the green here. Thrust to weight, I'd like to see that a little bit higher, but it looks like, you know, we're in the green, so we're good. And pitch speed is good there as well. Now it does have some additional information down here which I have not really dug into, but I did make screenshots of all of it so that I could actually do some review of the information here. I did glance through some of this, but my biggest thing was I wanted to make sure that I was basically in the green almost all the way through here. So again, you can play around with this. You can download this as well. I'm pretty sure that that is something that you'll be able to do if you have an account. And the account is very inexpensive for Ecalc. You don't have to have one to use it, but I just went ahead and I have a yearly account with it. You do have some information here. I have not had an opportunity to really look at and understand what this particular graph means. So I'll need to work on understanding that. Now, last but not least, there's one other piece that we want to take a look at. Okay, so here we are back in Ecalc. The other thing is we want to calculate center of gravity. So let's calculate the center of gravity. We'll just go ahead and click on that. And we're going to look at our center of gravity. And I'm going to show you how I figured this out. Now, one of the things that I thought was very important for me was to understand these different values. So first of all, before we change anything here, because sometimes it'll get a little wonky here in a second. So we have monoplane and biplane here. Our root chord is going to be 210. And of course, this is information I've actually picked up from Aerostuff FPV. And then I verified it myself. Now, one of the things that bugged me about this, so all of these other ones, we're going to have to zero them out. And you have to make sure you put 0 in here, because if you don't put 0 in here, it will cause you some issues when you do your when it does the calculation. So we're going to zero all of these out. And I'm going to fill these in, and then I'm going to tell you what they actually mean. So if you look down here, this is what you got right now. And that's going to change. It's going to actually show you what the wing looks like. It's going to provide you with 3 different things. And we'll get to those in just a second. So the sweep is one of the things that I've been trying to figure out. Now, how to calculate wing sweep, I went to Google and tried to pull that up and found a couple of websites. Here, there's some information on how to calculate your wing sweep. And this is where it shows you how to get your sweep angle. Now, I haven't figured the math out, because once I do, I'm going to come back and I'm going to verify the wing sweep area, because I did think about changing the wing sweep for the W2 version of my plane here, the wing that I'm building. But right now I'm going to stick with what Aerostuff FPV has, unless by the time I start cutting the foam to build this wing, I have determined how to, or I've really gotten that math down on how to get the wing sweep for myself so I can verify it. And here's another anatomy of a wing, swept platforms, classes of swept platforms, all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing some research to try to get a really good understanding of that. If you have any websites or videos out there that help you understand the formulas when it comes to calculating wing sweep, then make sure you drop those down in the comment section. Help a brother out, because I really want to get a really good understanding of this. So right now, as we're going into this, I'm actually using the wing sweep calculation from Aerostuff FPV, which I would love to be able to figure this out for myself. Now, we don't have different levels of wing sweep throughout this wing. It's only a single level. So, and you'll see that. We haven't put in our panel span as of yet. So the panel span currently in millimeters, and actually this is in centimeters, so I need to change the units into millimeters. So now we got our units changed to millimeters, and it's going to turn out correctly. So our millimeter panel span is 1346 in just a second. But if you do a delta 0%, it basically gives you the same thing either way. So tail effectiveness is where you're going to get that. So flying wing, it just zeroes everything out, and all of your calculations are going to be based on that. Everything else here is basically zeroed, and so if you hit calculate, then it calculates and gives you the information that you want. So we plugged in everything here. Again, the wing sweep is something that I want to get a very good calculation for. And of course, if you have an aircraft with wings or with different levels of sweep throughout the wing, this will help you determine your center of gravity. So this is what we have here. And this is calculating my center of gravity from that center point. So what I'm going to have to do is measure back from that point back here to get my center of gravity. And I'm going to have to try to be a little conservative and make sure that it is a tad bit nose heavy, but not so much that it noses into the ground like it has been. Now, one of the things that I do know as well is that for a flying wing like this, it can be very sensitive. Again, I wanted to share this with you because this is what I'm going through to determine how I'm going to rebuild this wing. And that's the calculations and stuff that I've been going through within Ecalc so that you get an idea of what it is I'm doing. Hopefully, in the process of sharing this with you, you get an idea of how valuable Ecalc, I believe Ecalc is, and how much it could possibly help you out with getting the information that you want if you're trying to design and build not just a wing but any aircraft in the future. I did actually try this with my other aircraft. I don't think I was very accurate with it, but I did use it to get my center of gravity on my other aircraft wing, and I think it worked out pretty well. It flies and hopefully if you've been around for a little bit, you've seen that video already. But that's basically it. So again, I highly recommend jumping into Ecalc and playing around with it and doing some reverse engineering. And hopefully that helps you out with getting the information that you need if you, again, want to build your own RC aircraft out of foam. So thanks for stopping by and checking this out with me. I hope this helps you out. And I look forward to seeing you again in a future video.
Yet.